Hello YouTube, it is me, Raina. So I decided to do my own personal ranking of worst to best of the Evak seasons from Scam. I'm surprised I did not do this a couple years ago, but I'm doing it now just to give my opinion, just to put it out there, just, for fun or whatever. So starting at the bottom, to me, the one that I you know, only watched like once when it, a couple years ago and, never really gave a care about it really, was Skam-italia, which is Martino's season, which is their season two. They were actually the first remake to do the Isak season, but I wasn't there to watch live. I watched well after the season was over, and I have strong opinions. We all know this remake is infamous for casting a white girl as Sana. That's been talked about to death, so I don't feel I need to really go into that. Even though I stand by in not liking that, obviously. I don't like whitewashing, but anyway, that should be, assumed. But anyway, another thing that I did not like, I noticed in the scene where I think it's towards the end of episode 2, where they talk about their favorite music, Nicolo, who is the Evan equivalent, talks about he likes a certain rapper and he says the N-word. That was met with discourse, obviously, and the showrunner tried to make an excuse for it. It was a whole debacle. They wanted to play dumb and say, oh, we didn't know that word was offensive. I think, the world is pretty connected via internet to understand what words are and are not offensive in certain countries. I think we understand that. But to kind of slide that aside, even though that's been a thorn in my side of this season, I did not like that at all. Overall, this season was blah. It felt really uninspired. Yes, it looks different. The cinematography of the show, of course, is good and everything, but I just did not buy into the chemistry of these two at all. I think they're too old. Everybody on the show is too old to play these characters, but, since, Martino and Nicolo are the main characters, I just did not buy the chemistry. I did not buy them as these characters. They're too old. They feel like good friends, but every single time it gets to a romantic scene or something, and I'm not asking for them to like make out heavily or do whatever. I'm not asking for that. Just simple, chemistry. And I feel like they have a friendly chemistry, but not a romantic chemistry. And I just don't feel it. And I feel like, especially with Nicolo, when it comes to playing the more like sadder moments of Evan, when we found out about their mental illness, I just didn't feel it from him. I didn't feel it from Martino and the more dramatic. I just did not buy the actors at all as these characters. And the story is so reliant on the character and the emotional journey. I just personally did not feel that. But if you did and you love the story, then that's great for you. But to me, I just personally didn't feel it. So that's why they're at the bottom of the list. They just have no romantic chemistry whatsoever. And, it seems like a very faithful copy and paste of the original. It felt too safe, in my opinion. And now to go on to the Belgian remake. I'm not going to say the name of it because this, I don't want to get this video taken down. So I'm going to call it Scam Belgium, whatever. So this season 3, which is about Rabe, I did not like this season at all. Now, I was amped up for this season. I was getting ready for it. I knew it was coming. I watched this one actually live when it first came out back in the fall of 2019. And I was, really ready for it because for this remake, I was on season 1. I actually surprisingly enjoyed season 2, even though the original season 2 I do not like. It's, really amazing how they really made me like that season. So I'm like, oh, okay, the season 3 should just be a doozy. Oh, but it was not. They really had a slow start. They introduced the Evan character, which in this remake is Sander. like in the middle of episode 3, and they rushed through a lot of the gradual build up moments that we're supposed to have with, Isak and Evan, which is Robbie and Sander in this version. And everything felt too rushed. The almost kiss, the call your girlfriend scene, it just felt too rushed. And then literally the next episode is the first kiss. It just, like I said, it felt too rushed. But to me, the thing that really I did not like in this version was the boys squad. I did not like them at all. It seemed like the writers were like, oh, let's just have them say the most demeaning things about girls. And it just felt so unrealistic. Also, like after the first kiss, you had Robbie insinuate that Sander was sexually assaulting him, called him the F slur, and pushed him away. And then I just did not like that at all. I felt like that was so unneeded. And I understand the character's going through internalized misogyny, but I'm like, if you're building up this romantic story, there's other ways you could have had Robbie react that wasn't so extreme. And then we get to the infamous gay bashing. Now, in other remakes, when it's come to, when it's come to this season, it's a very, welcoming season. We don't really get into some of the tropes. We get into some tropes, but not, the more violent tropes. And for some reason, the people of the Belgian remake decided to do this, and it was awful. It came out of nowhere. People were not expecting it, and I remember going onto the website and look at the comics. Now the comments are in, I think they speak Dutch or Flemish over there. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember seeing a comment saying, oh, it's 2019, and that's all I can make out. And I was like, oh no, what is this? And it was a very elongated bashing scene, with Robbie and Sander. And I was like, oh my God, no. And I was like, they did not do this. It's like, okay, if they decide to do this, this changes basically the whole entire story. They cannot follow the same story beats. It's impossible. Well, they did that anyway. They followed the same story beats, what happens in the second half of the season. They follow it to a T, barely address the gay bashing. And it just basically, it just did not work at all. You cannot put something that triggering and that harrowing in a season and just brush over it like it's just some simple obstacle in their relationship. I just did not like that at all. It really soured me personally, my experience in watching this season. So to me, Robbie's season, pacing is way off. Like I said, the relationship is rushed. At least the good thing I can say about it is I like the collective. I liked Zoe in this season. I liked Milan. I liked, the chemistry between the actors who play Robbie and Sander are really good. And I believe the relationship, but unfortunately the writing, the pacing, the certain plot points that they put in here just do not make sense. It's like the first half of the season, they wanted it to be original. Then the second half, they want to go right back to scam. Like you can't do that. Either change along the way or change the whole season. You can't do first half is our original story, and then the second half, oh, let's go back to OG scam. Like it just, especially with the gay bashing scene, I just felt like it was all off, and it made for a really, honestly, just not good season. So that's why it's down here. Now, the one above here is skam-France. Now, to me, skam-France is kind of halfway for me, where it's like, it's, a good watch, but it's not, to me, something that's all the way good. The thing that I can say about this particular remake of this season, with skam-France season 3, with Elliot and Lucas, is that the actors have great chemistry. I buy into their relationship. They have the gradual build-up. They do some of the same things. They have a different flair to it. The kissing scene, the first kiss is different. They have, their own metaphors for certain things, the light and dark, and I like that and everything. But overall, when it's not that, I just get the same story. I won't say it's playing it safe, but with the actors looking like they're older and looking like basically almost like young adults. Like, I don't buy them as teenagers. I don't buy their behavior, especially Elliot. I just don't buy it at all with that actor. And you know, we all know the paint scene. You know, it's really buying into like the not surrealism, but like the fantasy of it all. And I know this season is like really giving you the romance, and it's like that's great, but like, you know, where's the mundane? Where's the everyday thing that Scam is about? And I feel like this season misses out on a lot of that. And we get kind of sidetracked with other people's stories when it's supposed to be Lucas's journey. And I feel like we kind of lose the character of Lucas in the later half of the season. And certain things don't really add up personally. To me, I think the best episode is like the finale, where I feel like when they talk about Elliot's mental illness and that big conversation minute by minute. But overall, I think this season is just fine. It's certainly obviously better than Skam-italia and What the Fuck, which is why it's here, but it's kind of in the middle. It's like a nice, easy watch. It's not really challenging. It kind of is giving going through the motions, honestly, when it comes to this remake. So, yeah, these are like my bottom three, with skam-France kind of favoring to be better than these two. So come back for part 2 where I talk about Drunk and Scam España.